Hello, I have Selena here with me to share more exploration with equivalence. And I just grabbed another plate out of our cabinet, and this one has two different shapes that we're going to be exploring. Can you tell me what this shape is?
A rhombus.
This one's a rhombus. And what is this over here?
A rectangle.
A rectangle. So we're going to be looking at rhombuses and rectangles and the relationships between the two. Okay, so what does equivalent mean? What does it mean when two figures are equivalent?
They take up the same space.
They take up the same space. Can you replace the pieces of the rhombus with the rectangle and see if these two are equivalent? Okay, so Selena made really short work of moving the rhombus pieces over to the rectangle. She trusts the material and she's explored a lot, so she could see that. I'm going to move them over so we can talk about the parts of the rhombus and the parts of the rectangle, because there's special names to parts of the rhombus that will help us in finding this relationship. So I'm going to move these ones back over, and I want to talk about the figures that we have. Okay. What is the bottom of a rectangle called?
The base.
The base. And this is also the base of the rhombus. The base is the part that it sits on. Now, the height is from the base up. And on this one, it's not along this edge. It's from here, the base, to the tallest point. So the height is right in there. It's hard to see it because it's on the outside of the figure. Okay, this line that's drawn right across here, I'm going to just move that out so you can see it. That white line that I created there, that is called the minor diagonal. It's a diagonal line created by connecting the 2 points opposite each other on the short side. So it's called the minor diagonal because it's small, minor diagonal. And I can't really show this one with this piece in, so I'm going to set this aside. This length right there, that is the major diagonal. The major diagonal is formed by connecting the 2 points that are furthest away from each other, and that is the major diagonal. So we have the major diagonal and the minor diagonal. Okay, now we're going to look at the relationship between the parts of our rhombus and the parts of our rectangle. I want you to watch and tell me what becomes the base of our rectangle. Did you see that? It was this right here. What is this?
The minor diagonal.
The minor diagonal became the base of our rectangle. I'm going to show you that one more time. It's right here, and we bring it out and place it in. The minor diagonal becomes the base of our rectangle. Okay, now when we were looking at our major diagonal, I'm going to put that back just so you can see it on the camera. This is our major diagonal. When we moved one of these over, when Selena picked this up and moved it here, this length right here became the height of our rectangle. What is that length right there? Is this length?
Half of the major diagonal.
Half of the major diagonal. So the relationship between a rhombus and a rectangle, for them to be equivalent, is that the base of the rectangle is equal to the minor diagonal, and the height is half of the major diagonal. I know that seems like a lot of talking. I'm going to get the whiteboard and write that definition out for you. So this work is a lot of fun. I told you when we started Equivalence that equivalence work was where you can be really creative. So you can draw and create your own rhombi and cut them into pieces and make them into rectangles and see this relationship. So I'm going to draw these parts so that you know what I'm talking about. This dotted line is the minor diagonal. Minor diagonal, and that's a funny looking rhombus. This dotted line is the major diagonal. I'm going to leave that up there just for a minute because I want you to see those words, because this is part of your follow-up. I would like you to draw your 2 rhombi and label the parts, the minor diagonal the major diagonal. And we have a couple more that aren't going to fit. But I'll move the whiteboard up in just a second. We want to look at the base. And I'm going to just draw a dotted line right there. And the height. So we have one more rhombus down here. The height is this dotted line, and the base is this length that it sits on. These are the parts of a rhombus. So we are going to label your page parts of a rhombus. And these are what you're going to label: the base, the height, the major diagonal, and the minor diagonal. I'm sorry, I moved the camera, can't see it all at once. I will post a picture of what I would like you to follow up. So these are the parts of the rhombus. Now I'm going to erase this so I can write your definition, and then I will post a picture of what you need to have included in your follow-up. You need to say that the relationship between a rhombus and a rectangle for them to be equivalent is this. A rhombus is equivalent to a rectangle when the base of the rectangle is the same, we're going to run out of room, as the minor diagonal and the height is equal to half the major diagonal.
It's a lot of words.
It is a lot of words, and you don't have to memorize that. You will get to see it. I will take a picture of that. A rhombus is equivalent to a rectangle when the base of the rectangle is the same as the minor diagonal and the height is equal to half the major diagonal. That is the relationship of equivalence between a rhombus and a rectangle. I have more rhombuses, rhombi to share with you, but those are lessons for another day. For this lesson, your follow-up will be to label the parts of your rhombus, if you haven't already done that in your other lessons, and to write out the definition, and to try your hand at turning rhombuses into rectangles. I can't wait to see what you do. I look forward to seeing you share that with me, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.